Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks. I'm host Mega31. I hope you had a good All-Star break. Uh, I know we did a video for the All-Star game. Hopefully you watched it. It had some really good content in it. We actually had a viewer respond afterwards saying that he was not doing well, having a dry spout in DFS, and took our advice and made a couple pivots and actually hit it pretty big in some contests. So got him right back on his feet again. So that's awesome. Love to hear it. Please share those stories with us. It just helps us going. That's why I'm up at 12:38 a.m. recording a video when I have to work at 8 a.m. tomorrow, just because we enjoy doing this and want to get the content out to you and to try to help you just become better players. So, speaking of the All-Star break, home run derby there. Sometimes afterwards it might screw up the swings of some of the batters, but I don't think like anybody went super deep and long at it, so just have to watch on that. And also speaking of home runs, DK, if you do the achievements, I actually love to do this. I usually stack the dimes. They have the home run challenge again, so if you can you get like 5K crowns, I think, or something like that. Maybe it's 2.5K. I don't know. Look it up. But anyways, if you can capture a home run, I think over like the next month from each team, like I said, it's really cheap to do. See the lineup coming out and just do like 1 through 5 from one team and then fill in with three from the other team. Just stack in the dime. You might pay, I think, and actually in doing this, I've actually won some money too. So, but love to chase the crowns and the achievements. So, something to look forward to. And DK also the game within the game. Okay, let's get to the slate. 11 games, one that has some severe weather potentially in Atlanta there. It's about 80% chance of rain. So I'll have to keep an eye on that one and see if that game plays. The rest of them look like they should be fine. No real wind factor, and we do have Coors Field. So we'll start with the Yankees and the Rays. Eflin and Cole. Eflin, I think, is okay here. The Yankees' K rate has come down recently over the last couple of weeks. So, with staying out of the lineup, I think that kind of helps. But it is in Yankee Stadium, so we'll have to see. It's usually decent hitting weather for them there. So Cole on the other side was not great coming back from the injury, but he's starting to put things together again. And Tampa Bay really hasn't been super scary. Middle of the road with K rate, but some of their stars and like that were just hitting really well in former years haven't been hitting as well recently. So I think both pitchers are in play here. Eflin in the cheaper range at like 7.5 because you've got a bunch of pitchers, no super expensive here, but Cole at 9K if you're paying up in the that range, and then in 7K range if Eflin, I like him. Bat wise, I think the Yankees still, the lefties here and Judge, Rice, Soto, Judge, Verdugo, maybe even Austin Wells as the catcher. Although he doesn't have a ton of power, and I don't really trust Torres. So I'm probably about a 4-man stack for the Yankees. If you find a fifth one that works for you, I'm fine with that. So I like that. And Tampa Bay would probably just be a lever stack against Cole. Detroit and Toronto, super low total in this game, 7.5, 3.5 on each side. And it's pretty much a pick 'em game. Flaherty and Chris Bassett. Flaherty's had a good season. The Blue Jays, like Springer's been heating up a little bit, Vlad, but the rest of the team have been kind of flat. Bichette's banged up again. And the bottom of this lineup is just not great. And they're talking about potentially starting to blow this up before the trade deadline and kind of starting over because it just isn't working. So we'll have to see if that factors into things. So Flaherty, I think, is definitely my second favorite pitcher after Cole. And Bassett, I think you can consider him in like 150 max, but he's just has not been good. I know there's not a ton of power and potential on this Detroit team, but there have been times where they can put up runs, and I kind of like Perez, Keith, and Green there against them for bats. So uh, I think both these teams at wise would be the total would be in like the 150 max here. So like I said, you can probably pick out those three bats from Detroit if you want to like some cheap fill-ins here. Like Green's 5K, but Perez is 3.6 and um Keith is 3.5. So that kind of balances out those three if they work. outfield, second base, and outfield if you can find a stack that fills all the rest of the positions. Blue Jays, I'd probably just go full stack here to Springer, Vlad, Turner, Bichette if he's in, Horwitz or Varsho, one of those two. I'm not really interested in Jansen, Collette, or Kiermaier. Mets and Marlins, Manea and Cabrera. Manea, I think, is been solid this season. Like last year for San Francisco, not so much, but this year has really figured it out. He has DK points in like games in like the 20s. Marlins, there's nothing really scares me here. No real right-handed power. Maybe Berger, Bell, De La Cruz a little bit, but I think they'll be fine here. I think they'll have another solid game. And Miami is climbing up there. They're number five overall in the last 14 days in strikeouts at 26.2%. So I think there's definitely some strong upside. I really like Manea at 7.6 in the cheaper range here. Cabrera on the other side, have been doing a little research online tonight and see some people like touting him against the Mets. I don't get it. The guy has given up like he just got crushed in his last start. And I guess it was at Cincinnati at the Great American Ballpark. So I get it. And that has a pretty potent lineup. I think he gave like 7 runs and 4 home runs. But he's given up a home run like each of his last 6 games. So I really like the Mets here. Lindor, Nemo has been just on fire. Alonso has been good, even righty on righty. Vientos, even the bottom of this lineup's been hitting pretty well. So I think everybody's in play here, and they're my second favorite stack behind San Francisco in cores. Marlins, I think, would just be a leverage stack against Manea because I think I'll be using him a bunch. San Diego and the Guardians, Waldron and Bybee. Waldron has had a pretty decent season, but in this one, I think he'd be the lowest one I'd take in the mid range. Cleveland just really doesn't strike out. They've got great plate discipline, and they've been hitting pretty well recently. So I think the knuckleball could work, and I think it's a good GPP pick, but I am not super enthralled with playing a ton of Waldron. Maybe sprinkle in just in case, but I don't think there's a lot of upside there. Ivy on the other side, I think it's the same thing. Yeah, Cleveland's a huge favorite here against them. I don't kind of get that. I think this game could be closer than what Vegas is indicating. So if you want to look at that, the lines when they come out in the morning and play some bets on it, I'm cool with that. But I do think Cleveland can win the game definitely. So Bybee again, kind of blah. San Diego is not the strong, potent lineup that we thought they'd be due to like multiple injuries, but they do have some times where they can like put up some runs. Xander Bogaerts come back and has been solid, and yeah, the bottom of the lineup isn't great, but Merrill like is streaky, but as a rookie has been put up some decent numbers. Cronenworth, Profar have decent potential. Machado also, and Ares is a good leadoff hitter just to get on base and actually sometimes can get some running game going. So they can put up some runs. Same thing with Cleveland here. So San Diego, I think, is just a GPP stack. Cleveland's my fourth favorite stack here. Um, you against the knuckleballer, I think he'll be uh, fine. San Diego has the fifth worst bullpen also. So definitely an opportunity to pick up some runs after Waldron's done pitching for the day. And Quan has just been hitting for average and really well. Jose Ramirez, even though it didn't go great in the home run derby, uh, I don't think it's gonna mess up his swing. I think he's solid. Naylor has decent power against righties, so I think that not one of my favorite teams, but if you're playing GPP, I think you can mix in some Cleveland bats, um, definitely. Or I don't think I'd make this stack in cash, but I think more of a GPP there. St. Louis and the Braves, Sonny Gray and Spencer Schwellenbach. I'm not touching either one of these pitchers just with the way the weather is. Some of the projections I've seen on Sonny Gray are super low, so I don't know if he's like pitch counter or something, but I couldn't find anything on it. But I think he'll be fine. And this game has a super low total too at both teams under 4. So again, check the weather, see how it's playing there. If the rain's gonna hold off, it's gonna be hot and the wind's blowing out, then definitely I'd bet the over on that. Sonny Gray, I think you could take the Braves. I've actually a sixth. Actually, they're tied with Miami for fifth in strikeouts. So some strikeouts in the lineup. The bottom of the lineup is not great. I mean, you still have Ozuna in there and Riley who have some potential, but the rest of them have just been with injuries and stuff have just been underachieving. So we'll see if they have to make some moves at the deadline to try to make a push for the to solidify a playoff spot. But Sonny Gray could have a solid game here. Follow back on the other side, St. Louis has just been hit or miss. Currently, they've been having better plate discipline, so they're bottom 10 for K, so there's not a ton of K upside. And at 7,600, like I'd rather play like Manea or some of the other ones in that. So that price range. So I think I'm just going to completely fade that, and especially with the weather, I just really don't like that game. Now, here's an intriguing game. You have Baltimore at Texas. Corbin Burns and Nathan Evaldi, both decent pitchers. I think you can take a shot on either one of them here. I think both of them have some potentials in GPP if they have a solid night. It could turn into a pitching duel, but both offenses have been fooled a little bit recently, but they have the bats and the names and the potential, and they're starting to get healthy and come together that either one of them can go off. So I think they make very intriguing GPP stacks for you, and I think that I think you really want to. So actually, I don't know why Texas is not on the board here. I don't know why my mouse is not working. So actually, if I had to, I would take San Diego off of here. And I'm going to put San Diego in this 150 max there. So yeah, I'll put Texas in that category there. So let's see if I missed another team. So if I do, just put in the comments. I'll let you know where they land. But I thought I had everybody on here. The page crashed and I had to redo a couple things, so that could be part of the problem. Anyways, like intriguing game. I think go in GPPs. You just have to pick which storyline. Does Burns have a decent game? Does Evaldi have a decent game? Does the Baltimore Bats have a decent game? Does the Texas team have a decent game? I really don't have a read on this one. It's 11 games late. There's so many other places to go that I think in a GPP in like dollars, if you take like a shot on like each way here, then I think that and build it together. So take Burns and the Baltimore stack. I know it's expensive, but you can the A's in Oakland are cheap enough, and like Detroit to be able to fill in. You should be okay with that to be able to make that work. Same thing with Texas. I take Valdi and some of their bats and just like correlation that he pitches well and that the bats come alive and that all works together and maybe hopefully take down GPP with that. White Sox and Royals, Flexen and Waka. Flexen's a definite no. Waka, I think, is intriguing. Like he hasn't been super exciting, but the White Sox and see, Colorado says cool. 25% K rate there. I think you definitely, even though he's not a strong K pitcher, I think that he could definitely get some in this lineup here and you know, be able to pay off his price tag. But and in the mid range, there's not like ones like I said, BB and Ivy and Waldron we're super excited about. Castillo's got a tough matchup. Brown's definitely the head of the class there, and we'll get to that in a second. But I think that you got, he's against a really weak lineup here. So I think that you're going to have a decent opportunity with Waka. And I think he's a pivot off of Brown, but I think, like I said, in that range, Brown at like 84, if you can get up to him for $200 more, it's a much better play against a strikeout happy Seattle team. So bat wise, the White Sox, I think Waco has some ownership, especially with the total and has the win upside. They'd just be a leverage stack. I don't know who I'd play there, but good luck if you figure out the magic formula. Let me hear about it. I'd be so excited for you. Um, but I don't know if that's going to work. And then Kansas City is that's got to be one of the top stacks on the slate, and they're super cheap. If you take Witt out of it, 6-3, like Frazier leading off at potentially at 3K, Pasqualino 4-6, Perez 4-6, 4-2. Everybody else is like almost 3K on this. Like such a cheap way to be able to get a top stack. I'm super excited about that. So speaking of top stacks, we go to Coors Field. San Francisco is probably going to be the top stack on the slate against Qual Control, who's a horrible pitcher. I see Harrison and I see Logan Webb. Webb was in the All Star game. He did pitch, but I don't know if he needs like a ton of time just going like one inning. He might be fine. It'd be like throwing a bullpen session. So he might be in play here, but we'll go for Harrison at now. And I'm just fading both these pitchers at Coors Field. And Giants have a decent total here. I don't like they don't mix and match as much as they have in the past, but you still gotta be conscious of that a little bit with pinch hit risk. So uh Wade, if he's batting up there, you think if he can get it done early before he gets pitch hit for, but Soler, Ramos, Bailey, Conforto thinks where you want to go, but you pretty much can play anybody on the San Francisco team. Colorado, I think, makes a GPP play also on the other side against Harrison. Again, like who do you play with? So uh we have to see. They might give Blackman the day off and like have Tovar lead off there, Rogers, Diaz a catcher, Doyle, and then Toglia's been solid too. So don't sleep on him at 4-3, a switch hitter, first baseman. It could be a decent sneaky play. Plus, some of the like Hunter Goodman, some of these young guys too might work out. So don't be afraid to do like a wraparound stack there of like um, Toglia, Bouchard or Goodman, Tovar, Rogers, and don't feel that you have to go like 1 through 5 stacking Colorado if you want to against a lefty. Next up, we have the potential toilet bowl here with the Los Angeles Angels against the Oakland Athletics, Griffin Canning and JP Sears. Both of them are cheap. I think both of them potentially could be in play in GPPs here if you're looking for a cheap SP2. I think if you like Brown's your SP1, and you don't pay up for the high range, and Manea's your SP2, which I think is going to be my cash pairing, you don't really need to get these. But if you're trying to like stack like San Francisco and Kansas City or something weird like that, you might need to go here. Heck, I recommended it before a couple weeks ago, like two garbage pitchers as like your SP1 and SP2, and somebody almost took down a GPP with that, with the bats that they got. So, like, I think I'm going to throw a line in tomorrow with a Griffin Cannon JP Sears stack, and then I'll get all the bats I want in the world, and we'll see what happens. So, I'll try that out. But bat wise, I think I like them here too. Both these stacks are great fill-ins, especially I love the Angels against the lefty here. Rendon's back and leading off. He's been okay. Chris skips Chanel there if he bats second. Ward, Pilar, I hope you love him. One of my favorite young catchers in the game. Drury, Meadows had some power against Adele. You wrap around there. He's only 3-3. He hits lefties really, really well. I hope he gets like hits up in second and they drop like Chanel and down the lineup. That would be amazing if Adele gets a good batting spot. I'll be locking him in so many lineups. And then on the Oakland side, Lawrence Butler has absolute fire um, at 3K. That is a steal. I mean, if in cash games, even if you want a one off or need a cheap bot, like just lock him in. Um, Great matchup against Griffin Canning. Um, and I think that he's got speed, he's got his power, he's just everything coming together for him. What we hoped would happen to Ruiz on the team, who's been injured and sent out to the minors and stuff. I think Lawrence Butler is all putting together. Andujar has been solid. Blade had got split advantage. Rooker's been okay. Langoliers, Seth Brown. I don't know if I play Geloff, Harris, or Schulman here, righty on righty, but again, they're the A's. The Angels aren't that good, so I think anybody could be potentially in play here. Houston and the Mariners, Hunter Brown and Luis Castillo, another good pitching matchup here, kind of like the Orioles in Texas. but Castillo struggled recently, and so has Houston. But Houston really doesn't have much like K upside. They've been, even though they've fallen down out of the top 10, and the K's are coming up a little bit just with like the injuries and the current lineup that they have and the bottom of the lineup. I think Castillo's just been too volatile for me to really want to play in cash, but GPP I'm fine. But Hunter Brown is by far going to be my top one. Seattle struggled so much. He has really put things together. He started off the season really rough, had solid performance, threw up one clunker in there, but he's been solid overall recently in his form. And he's a strikeout pitcher. He's against a high strikeout lineup, almost 30%. Dream matchup. Love it. Gonna lock him in at 84 as my SP1. So Seattle definitely would make a great contrarian stack here. And I think Houston would just make a GPP stack against Castillo if he continues to struggle. It's just trying to figure out who, you know, um, probably the top of the lineup is going to do the damage. But I've seen like Luper Fido do it. I've seen Myers do it. I've seen McCormick do it. Like whose night is it? With the big boys up top to make it work. So if you can figure that out, that might be very profitable. Final game, we have Boston going out to the Dodgers, Pivetta and Gavin Stone. Pivetta, tough matchup, but he's been pitching well recently, so I think he's got to still be in play in 150 max. Take some shots on him. I think he'll have low ownership if he does well, because we've seen the Dodgers sometimes come out a little bit cold. And Stone on the other side, not super interested in. At this Red Sox team, it's definitely a part downgrade for them coming out of Fenway, but their lefties are really good with the power that they have, and they've been pretty consistent. They've actually, before the All-Star break, are one of the hottest teams. I think they have like the best record in like the last 20 or something. They've made up a lot of ground in the AL East. So we'll see if they can keep that momentum going in a very tough division. And if they do, it'll make a pretty compelling playoff run there with the Orioles and the Yankees there in the mix with them. So cat wise, like Boston, I think is definitely a GPP team I like, and Dodgers. I mean, you can't always, it's late night hammer. You can't count them out. They're against a decent pitcher, and they're super expensive if you're trying to take the top four. But the bottom of the lineup is so wicked cheap that if you do like a wraparound thing or pick and choose like who you pay for up top, then even like a wraparound with Outman at only 3K, and Chris Taylor's been playing consistently. So if you go like wraparound Taylor, Outman, Otani, um, and then just pick like which one, Smith, Freeman, Hernandez, that you want. Hernandez did win the home run derby. We'll have to see if that like messed up his power at all, because he did go deep into it, and I think he changed up his swing a little bit to try to uh hit some of those balls out. But we'll have to keep an eye on that. So it's all the games. Let's look at some builds to get you on your way for your Friday. So, like I said, Brown Manet I'm taking, and I am going to build with the Angels and Kansas City. If you want to put San Francisco in here, I completely get it. But Ojobe Perez, Pasquantino, Witt, Pilar, and Ward are the ones that I get. If Adele has a decent batting spot, then maybe I'll switch on, put Pilar and Ward, or put him as my third outfielder. And then there's so many combinations between Lopez and Drury and Rendon and Garcia and Massey. Like you can easily fill in second and third and make like a full stack work for both sides of that. And then for GPP, Cole and I'm going to take a shot on Sears there. I said Cannon could also potentially work. Um, and I'm going A's and Mets here. So Langoliers, Alonso, second and third. There's lots of decent fill-ins there. Take some one-offs if you want to. If you drop Cole and get rid of the A's, then you can, like I said, you can go like with whoever you want. But Mets are going to be my primary stack there. So Alonso, Lindor, and Nemo are the ones that I want. But don't be afraid to play the bottom of the Mets lineup. They've had some pretty solid games recently, but Butler's the lock there. I mean, definitely can play him in cash also, but I'm playing him in this GPP build. So So I got for you. If you have any questions, put them in the chat below. Hit me up Megaro31 on Twitter/X. If you want more information on FSi DFS, you can go to the description of the video and our pricing page is there. It is very cheap for our coverage, and it's as low as $6 a day for VIP, which covers everything. So um, there's also like Friday's got a bunch of things going on. We've got NASCAR race, we've got WNBA usually, and baseball and PGA Showdown and stuff like that. So decent value to start your weekend off for. So if these videos help us back, like, subscribe to the channel, and share with your friends. So thanks for watching. Good luck in your contest. I'll be back Monday or Tuesday for the next video. McKinley will have tomorrow. We'll try to get Saturday one out for you. So thanks for watching. Good luck in your contest. I'll see you next time.